Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. So it was crazy. Last night I was scrolling Crexy and I came across the 50 unit apartment complex that I was looking at 4 years ago. So this 50 unit apartment complex, it's full section 8. All 50 units are section 8. So every month on the first, your money is guaranteed to your bank account. But I remember I actually walked this 50 unit apartment complex in person back when I had my 26 unit apartment complex under contract. And I remember I flew there, and right when I landed, it was around like maybe 2 p.m. I got my rental car and I drove all the way to Enid, Oklahoma, which was about maybe an hour away, and I actually met the owner. I think his name was Hamid, and he's a Middle Eastern guy. Met him at his house. So I remember his house was like super kind of isolated. I think it seems like he's a developer, so he built his own house. And I remember I was sitting inside his house, and I remember like we were talking about the deal, and he wanted to meet me in person. He's an older school guy, and I remember meeting his son, and his son was around my age, I believe, or maybe like 2 years younger. But I remember just sitting there in his house, sipping Johnny Walker Black. I remember I asked for it to be on the rocks, and it might have offended him a bit because I do like it a little bit chilled. And I remember just talking about the deal, and I remember I was like buzzed because I'm a lightweight, and I remember he drove me to his 50 unit in his Escalade. And I remember I was like really buzzed and feeling good and just really admiring like what he's accomplished, because he is a developer. He developed his house. He developed actually the 50 unit apartment complex, which is all rented to section 8. I think he did that because if you build low income housing, they give you very favorable terms in terms of like developing the property from scratch. And I remember like we were driving there. He owns like horse ranches, and he wanted to sell that to develop a bunch of duplexes. So I actually ended up turning down this deal because I think he wanted like 2.45 million and I wanted like 2.3 million. So we're off by 150K. But like looking back, like there's certain peace of mind of having guaranteed income every single month from section 8. So section 8, like literally on the first of every month, the money shoots right into your bank account. You don't have to worry about collections because all these tenants are 100% covered by section 8, right? So to me, it was just like, wow, there's a certain, like, especially now that I own real estate, I ended up buying my mobile home park, which I sold for a loss. And this was the 50 unit that got away. Like, had I just bought this 50 unit, my financial picture would be a lot better. I would not have been stressed, and I would not have taken a loss, right? So, it was very like timely that I just saw the deal. I don't know if it's the same owner because I don't have PropStream anymore, but if I had PropStream, I could look up who the owner was, and if it's the same dude, then definitely they haven't sold it yet. And definitely I remember he wanted to sell that to develop duplexes. Maybe he was delayed, maybe he didn't get an offer he wanted, or maybe he sold it and this is the second seller, right? Because it's been 4 years, and maybe they locked in a 5-year debt, and maybe their loan is being called due now, right? So but anyways, hoping it's the same owner. Actually sent him a text message this morning just saying, hey, like, my name is Dr. Steven Nguyen. I walked the property with you 4 years ago. Don't know if you still want to sell the 50 unit. I saw it on Crexy, but I'm just asking, or if you want to sell something else. So hopefully he responds, fingers crossed, because I did see it listed on Crexy. And but once you have a broker involved, it's really hard to negotiate seller financing. So like I said, I remember at the time, like, it was owned free and clear, and I remember I overcomplicated the deal because the 50 unit, there's like lots, like 2 lots where I could build like maybe like 12 more units, so 2 sixplexes. So it's 50 units total. I think it's over like 8 to 10 buildings. Actually, I think it's like 8 buildings ish. And then I remember like there's like a basketball court which wasn't used, and there's another piece of land where you could easily add 2 more sixplexes. And I think it was like I was newer in the game too. I overcomplicated the deal, and then once I overcomplicated it and to get the price I wanted, I moved on and ended up buying my mobile home park, which I sold for a loss. But from owning that mobile home park, because collections were so shitty at that park, 70% was like my best I could do. Like I really appreciate like Section 8 rents because it's guaranteed rents. So anyways, I remember driving to the property with the owner, Hamid, and we stopped by to pick up his property manager. And I remember she actually lived close by to the 50 unit, but she actually had an office in the 50 unit. And I remember she didn't want to go because she was at like a I think her like nephew's like birthday party, and like he kind of forced her to like go because like he wanted to sell it to me, and then he wanted her to give me the tour. So I remember, after back and forth, she finally got in the car. We went to the property and we walked around, and the property was nice, right? It was built, I want to say like 2007 for some reason. Like it wasn't that old, but it was built from brick, so it was more sturdy. He developed it himself. He actually gave me contacts if I want to develop another 2 6-plexes, but that overcomplicated it. And if I buy the deal today, I probably don't want to do that out the gate. And I remember like touring the property, Section 8 tenants, so it's hit or miss. But I remember touring the office, and she showed me like, oh, this is the paperwork for Section 8. Here's our wait list for Section 8. Most people play by the rules because if they don't play by the rules, then they lose their Section 8 voucher. So, I think the tenants have been good. And, they just showed me a few units. And I remember they're like pretty decently renovated, right? Like not too old, but not super new either. So I think 2007 is about right, kind of that window, or maybe 2000s. And I remember like seeing the property. They're super transparent. The owner like gave me his P&L for the past 3 years. He sent me the Section 8 contract with rent increases. And I remember like every like 2 years the rent would increase by like 5%. So I think at the time it was like 30,000, and then I think he had increased to 33,000, and that was probably back in like 2022 or 3. And then by now it might be even a little bit higher, right? It might be like maybe 34,000 or 35,000. But I remember at the time, I had Bank of the West, which is now BMO, underwrite the deal with me, and I even at like a $2.45 million offer price, which is about almost $50K per door. I think the cash on cash returns are like 7%, and I was like, this is 7%, right? Like that's not high enough. I want 10% cash on cash return. So that's what made me turn down the deal, because at 2.3 million, it would have been a 10% cash on cash return. I was short sighted, right? Because like today, fast forward, would I take 10% cash on cash return but not guaranteed money versus 7% cash on cash return and it's guaranteed money in my bank account? I would take the 7% guaranteed money in my bank account any day, right? Because you don't have to worry about collections. The money comes at the first of every month. He has a property manager on site there that I think he's paying like $50,000 a year to be there, plus another $20,000 of property management fees, so $70,000 total, which I think is a little bit high. But I guess she was managing the property and doing a good job, and all that. So I was just like, so his expenses were a little bit higher. Like I think he was grossing around those 30,000 times 12, so that's 36K. 360K, and I think his expense ratio was about 220K was his expense. And that's about 57% expense ratio. So, it was a little bit higher, but now that I look back, like most of my apartments run at a 55% expense ratio, especially if we maintain the property. So I think it's being honest. And I remember he claimed his laundry income was like cash, and he didn't quite claim it on his tax returns. But that's additional income there. And basically just saying, it's a pretty buttoned up deal. And I remember walking the units, it looked nice. And I remember like after that deal, I ended up buying my mobile home park, and I lost touch with the owner. So, hopefully he responds, like I said, but like, it's the one day I regret buying. Cause like you said, there's a certain peace of mind of getting your rent every single month, and then you just negotiate with Section 8 directly. I'm happy with 5% increases or 3 to 5% increases every like 2 years. And there's a wait list of rent, right? And then he has a system there. I need to talk to Mike. If I actually am serious with this deal, this thing's about 3 miles away from my 20 unit. So I kind of heard a rule of thumb, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but like if I were to get both, I'd own 70 units within a 3 mile radius. And why a lot of real estate investors discourage that is because you don't want to pull from your same tenant base, right? So, but as I thought about it, well, my 20 unit, it's all like 1 bedrooms, right? Versus the 50 unit, it's mostly 2 bedrooms. But the 50 unit is all Section 8 housing, which is a different tenant base than my 20 unit. My 20 unit is, for the most part, younger people, I would say millennial Gen Zs, who wants to be closer to downtown. And they want to be in kind of a more of a, I think in the area, path of progress. There's some homeless there, unfortunately, but it's like a younger demographic, and they're not Section 8 for the most part, right? So they're like younger millennial Gen Z, not Section 8 versus the 50 unit. It's more 2 bedrooms. I think it's mostly, I think out of the 30, 35 are like 2 bedrooms, and the 1 bedroom, 3 bedrooms are like split, like so maybe 7 each. So that one's appealing to more like families, I believe. So I think it's a different tenant base. So I would probably keep both. I'll see. But if I were to take down this 50 unit, maybe I would consider selling my 20 unit, right? If I'm afraid of that risk of peeling from the same tenant base. But thinking now, it's different tenants because my 20 unit has no Section 8, right? So maybe I could keep both and own 70 units in that area. So my property manager, I would ask them, like, how would you guys manage this property? Because right now they're just charging me 8% fee. But if I have a 50 unit plus a 20 unit, maybe I can negotiate a lower fee because now they're managing 70 units for me, right? And would they need somebody full-time to manage that? Or how would that look, right? So that's something I need to talk about because I definitely know if I'm paying like 8% on the income, that my total property management would be about 30K versus the current owner is paying like 70K. So right there, I could shave off 40K in expenses and make my expense ratio like, 45 to 50%, right? And this property is newer, so probably less capex, but once you own 50 units, there's things that have to be like touched up. I'm hoping the tenants are sticky, and it's nice that there's a waiting list, right? And I have laundry income as well as another source of income. So, multiple ways to make money as long as you keep the tenants intact and in control, right? So this would all be negotiable with that. So, and then in terms of the offer, the owner owned this free and clear. So, and I remember, but he wanted to sell it and develop his duplexes. So I couldn't really pitch 10% down, 90% seller carry. And then with the conventional financing with 25% down, 30-year amortized, I think interest rate was like 4.5 at the time, during 2021, and 7% cash return wasn't good enough for me, despite it being guaranteed income. And I remember him telling me like, dude, this is like guaranteed income, and there's a certain peace of mind that you could sleep every month knowing that you're getting guaranteed rents. And now I actually appreciate that, right? Like that would be more stable, more secure, and eviction is easy. If they don't pay, you just notify Section 8 and then they lose their voucher, right? So it's a lot simpler. In Oklahoma, it's very easy to evict as well. So because of that, like I really like the deal, and I'm hoping in response to my text because I really think the 50-40-10 offer would work. So once again, I would do my 3 offer method, right? I would offer my 25% down. I need to hit a 30-year AM or 25-year AM, 8% interest. My debt service coverage ratio must be 1.25. So because interest rates are higher now, 8% versus like 4.5, my offer is not going to be as good. It's probably going to be lower than my offer that I made of 2.3 4 years ago. So I would make an offer based on that. I would do an offer based on the 50-40-10 loan, right? So I would get 50% from Velocity Mortgage at 9% interest. I would try to negotiate that 40% to him to seller carry the 40% at 1% interest, so that my blended interest rate's around 5%. So it's kind of back what I bought it at back when it was 2021, and I can make a more aggressive offer and still put 10% down. Or if he wants to do the 90% seller carry, which I doubt it, but maybe his situation changed because maybe he doesn't want to develop the duplexes anymore because building costs went up, interest rates went up. So if he wants to do that, then that can be the most aggressive offer, right? But realistically, based on what I remember talking to his owner, I know he wants some of the money, so maybe I can set that 50-40-10, where let's say I'm buying it for $2.5 million. He had to carry 40% of that, and he'd get 60% of that. So roughly, he'd get about $1.4 million to then use to develop his duplexes, and then carry, the rest. And I'd pay him 1% interest on that money. And like I said, I would do a 10-year term, but I would tell him like, hey, like if I can find lower interest rates sooner, I would definitely do it, right? So, and I built trust with this guy. And I remember after visiting him, he was like, "Oh, thanks for like flying out here. Thanks for visiting me. I'm gonna lower the price by 50K." So like we built a relationship. So I'm really hoping that he has it listed on LoopNet of Crexy with a broker. Like it's hard to negotiate seller financing with a broker. So I really hope that. And I think when I had the deal last time, he had it listed as well, but it expired. And then he reached out to me directly, because then you can save a 3% commission to the broker if you work directly with me, right? So maybe that's why he gave me a discount, because he would save that money. So I really hope that he responds. I really hope it's the same owner, and really hope that we can make a deal happen, right? So anyways, that's kind of my thought process on the deal. So I'm really excited to do this. We'll keep you guys posted, but I know the deal pretty well. Like I said, I think he's owned it for a while. Like you said, I was looking at the old profit and loss statement. The insurance was like way less than what it normally should be. Like I'm thinking the insurance on that property is going to be minimum, like 10 to like 12K, but he put like 2K on his P&L statement, which is false. So, it's newer than my 20 unit, and my insurance denied my 20 unit, so I'm paying like 15K for that one. But I think this one might be like about 10K ish. I'm hoping 10 to 15K for the insurance. Property tax will go up obviously, but I'm really hoping I can pitch this 50-40-10 loan to make it a win-win situation where I'm putting 10% down. And then, so if I bought, let's say for 2.5 million, I would need 250K. At that point, I don't have that money on me. Maybe I can get a private money lender and pay them 10% interest on their money. Maybe I could do a cash out refinance on my 20 unit. I did get quoted to do a cash out refinance on my 20 unit or 26 unit. My interest rate would bump up to like low sevens, like 7.25, I think. But I'll be able to pull out my down payment, which I put in 60K, and pull out my renovation cost of about 400K. But then my cash flow would be a lot less on that property, but then I would use that money to basically put down 250K on this deal, right? Or I could use my line of credit on my stock portfolio, or I could look to sell some of my stocks. And from that 250K, I could borrow it, and higher my interest rate on my line of credit against my stocks would probably be about 10%. And then I could like maybe borrow some money from some friends and family, or pay them 10% interest on their money, right? So I think raising 250K is feasible with that. So if this deal pans out and I'm able to buy it, maybe I could do a reverse 1031 exchange where I sell my 20 unit. So I already have let's say the 50 unit under contract, I closed, and then I would sell my 20 unit and do a reverse 1031 exchange where I put that money into escrow to pay out this apartment complex, right? The 50 unit, if I don't want that. So that's another option as well. So really excited for this deal. It's the one deal that got away, and very opportune that like it's available now. Like I said, I hope it's the original owner, because if that's the case, it's owned free and clear. And then I would own this deal long term, and maybe I would develop the 2 boxes like in the future if I do cash out refinance. So like I said, I have many options for this. Obviously I could get private money lenders, pay 10% interest for 250K. I have aunts, uncles, friends, family that have money that they're retired, they want to park it, get 10%, they'd be happy with 10% interest. I can cash out refinance my 26 unit and pull out easily $400,000. But then my loan would be bigger on that deal, and it cash flow less, and take down the property. I could sell one of my single family homes and 1031 exchange that. So that's an option as well. Or like you said, I can get lines of credit against my stock portfolio, against my universal life insurance, pull out money on my 401k, or take a loan on my 401k and then use that to put 250 down to buy time. And then once I get my money, I just can pay off all those people, right? With that. So, or I can convince Christine to chip in as well. So we're gonna be married soon, and maybe she'd be open to it, right? Because like even to her, she was just like, wow, like there's a certain peace of mind of getting guaranteed $33,000 a month to my account every single month, and I know it, right? So at that point, it's just managing my expenses and managing operations. So you're not worried about collections, you're worried about maintenance, management, and all that. So like you said, have a team there ready. I have my property management 3 miles away. Hopefully I can negotiate lower interest rate or lower property management fees. Maybe I don't need someone full time because it's more stabilized. or if I have someone full time, they can manage both my apartments, my 50 unit and my 20 unit. And then, kind of prorate the management accordingly between the two. And like I said, gives me very options. So very excited for the deal. Very excited to use a 50-40-10 loan. I think it's a win-win situation. He gets his money and I still get a good deal on the price property, and hopefully it'll cash flow. And we'll keep you guys posted on what I hear. I texted him, give him a few days to respond. If not, I'll try giving him a call and see if they pick up. Maybe the number changed. If not, if I hear nothing still, then I will probably find the address on PropStream, send him a letter, and then I will reach out to the real estate agent or broker and see what happens there. But really want to go direct to the owner because it's easier to negotiate directly. We built trust already, so it's easier to negotiate seller financing once you built that trust, you built that relationship. So, don't have PropStream, but may ask one of my students, okay, can you search his address real quick so that I could see who the owner is of this property, and then, write them a letter for that. Anyways, hopefully you found value from this video. Let me know what questions you have. I'll keep you guys posted on this video, but this is the one deal that got away, but now it's coming back to me, and looking to buy something in the next probably 2 years. And this one's a really good deal that I underwrote already. So really excited for that. If you want to join my mentorship program and want one-on-one coaching, check out the link down below. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you in the next one. And thank you so much.